More revelations from the corrupt minimum wage fast food bill that California politicians have been manipulating and giving special exemptions from. Plus, the LA County Zoo tells applicants for jobs, if you're white, you need not apply. All that and more coming up. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and these are the stories we're following today. Let's start out with more fallout and revelations from the corrupt legislation that would increase the minimum wage for fast food workers in the state of California. As you know, on a previous podcast, we covered the bombshell revelation that a billionaire who owns a bunch of Panera restaurants, who's also friends with Governor Gavin Newsom and is a big contributor to the Democrat Party and to Newsom's campaigns, that he got a sweetheart exemption from the minimum wage increase for his stores. They call it the baking bread on site exemption. All the lobbyists in Sacramento were all talking about how this billionaire got this sweetheart deal. It was the worst kept secret in Sacramento. Then it came to public light that this campaign contributor and best bud of Newsom got this giveaway. And Newsom said, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about." And of course, no one could get to the bottom of it because all of the players signed NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. I'm sorry, but this is government. We don't have NDAs. The people's business needs to be done in public, in full daylight. There are no secrets that can be kept. How dare you hide behind an NDA at this point? And how dare legislators keep their mouths shut too? Because obviously, some corrupt hand manipulated this legislation and gave a big exemption, a financial windfall, to a powerful player. Now we're finding that other interests are now getting exemptions, all because they give campaign contributions as well. California Globe has this story. California's $20 minimum wage fast food bill gets even messier. Quote, "It's so flawed, you're exempting people and additional industries from the bill." So there's the original bill is Assembly Bill 610. The original bill was Assembly Bill 1228. That's where the minimum wage increase was put into place with this exemption for Panera, the billionaire Democrat donor. But Assembly Bill 610 has now been introduced to give additional sweetheart exemptions. So a bunch of special interest donors are saying, well, hold on a second. If the billionaire got an exemption, where's mine? Money, honey. So this is the corruption that you're seeing on display. Instead of getting to the bottom of who was corrupted, and we all know it was Gavin Newsom. Let's just be clear about that. Who was corrupted by Assembly Bill 1228? Along comes a gaggle of special interests saying, me too, me too, me too. I get my little bit of exemption. And that's Assembly Bill 610. Who's getting the giveaway? Are you surprised? The organized labor union bosses are now saying, well, hold on a second. We write big checks, bigger than the billionaire Panera owner, so we should get another exemption and special consideration. And that's exactly what the Democrats voted for this week, to give the unions an exemption from the minimum wage bill. You're probably saying, isn't that like, the pig saying, I want to order a side of bacon? Basically the unions don't care about their own members. They only care about the union dues. And so they're saying, well, if we negotiated a separate side deal with employers, minimum wage should not apply to us, and all the considerations and all the requirements therein. Here is KCRA covering the story.
Now on California's new fast food minimum wage law, which takes effect in just a couple weeks. Starting April 1st, most major fast food restaurants in California will need to pay their workers a minimum wage of $20 an hour. And the law's been under recent scrutiny. The governor faces allegations that he pushed for an exemption for bakeries to help one of his billionaire donors who is a Panera franchisee.
Well, today, state lawmakers passed more of these carve-outs or exceptions from this law.
More giveaways! That's right. Since one person got it, everyone who's powerful and gives campaign contributions, if you pay enough to the politicians, they too will give you a special consideration.
And KCRA 3 Capital correspondent Ashley Zavala joining us right now with the latest chapter in this still ongoing saga, Ashley.
Yeah, Golston, those new exemptions are for chain restaurants inside of airports, hotels, arenas, museums, and college campuses, for example. As we've been reporting,
As you know, if they're inside those facilities, economics don't apply to them either, right? There should be special laws for them. It's almost like they're on a different planet or a different nation or a different state altogether. They're like a minimum wage sanctuary.
we may never know how that other exemption for restaurants who bake and sell bread as a standalone item.
Oh, believe me, why are these reporters accepting the notion that they'll never know? I mean, come on, stay on the beat, get to the bottom of it, find out who corrupted the system. Doesn't take much to figure that out. It's Gavin Newsom and this Panera billionaire.
Item wound up in the law because non-disclosure agreements were used in its final.
Well, there you go. So I'm sorry for asking the question. Now that I know that there's a non-disclosure agreement, well, that clears up everything, right? This is insane. As a reporter, she should be saying, top story, politicians refuse to reveal who told them to put this in the bill. The politicians know who told them to put this in the bill. The lobbyists are saying, well, I'm under an NDA, so I can't tell you who my client was that asked for it or how it got in the bill. I can't tell you which politician put it in. But clearly there's a politician that had the bill, that knew that the amendment was being put in. And this reporter seems to just kind of say, oh, well, NDA. Guess that's the end of that. So pathetic. I mean, come on, do your damn job.
Negotiations that created the law. But we've learned the need for the legislature to pass those new exemptions today is actually a consequence of the use of those NDAs.
The clerk will open the roll. All those votes.
California lawmakers approved a new set of carve-outs from the state's fast food labor law that's been at the center of controversy.
Several thousand fast food workers have organized collectively across California.
Democratic Assemblyman Chris Holden pushed for those carve-outs for major fast food chains in airports, hotels, casinos, convention centers, museums, arenas.
All represented by a powerful union, Unite Here. Those are the hotel workers and public facility workers. So Unite Here wants an exemption from this minimum wage bill because they think that the bill makes whatever they're getting from these various entities more complicated. It gives up rights. It gives up financial considerations. So they want their own sweetheart deal. And Unite Here is one of the biggest campaign contributors to the Democrat Party and these individual Democrat politicians. Follow the money.
And college campuses. Holden noted those workers already have collective bargaining agreements that include benefits and better pay than the $20 an hour minimum wage that goes.
And they have to pay union dues. Okay, a lot of that money goes right back out the door in the form of a union due taken out of people's paycheck. And who does it benefit? The union boss and the politicians.
Into effect in April. Sources who spoke to KCRA3 on the condition they remain anonymous told us those exemptions were the direct result of the use of non-disclosure agreements in the making of that labor law last summer. The Service Employees International Union, also known as SEIU, required them with the fast food industry during negotiations. The law was fast-tracked in the last 3 days of the legislative session. Other unions representing the workers exempted Monday were left out of that main negotiating table and did not know they'd be roped into the law until it was too late.
I can't comment on NDAs, but I can say that at the end of last session, it was clear that for a particular labor organization who represents working families, that this was going to limit their ability. And there was nothing that we wanted to do in the bill to limit the ability for bargaining.
Was that group Unite Here?
We didn't want to limit the ability of a union to shake down employers for more. I mean, God forbid. I mean, the union backs us, and hey, a lot of that shakedown comes in the form of campaign contributions to us. I mean, come on, keep the money flowing, honey. This is so corrupt. This is so insane. This is not how legislation should be passed. If there's a law that applies in the state of California, everyone ought to have to comply with it. Why do we have separate, set-asides and exemptions? Minimum wage. I mean, isn't the concept there is that everyone should be earning a certain, basic wage? Again, don't get me into why the minimum wage is economically illiterate. It's economically bad. Minimum wage is actually hurtful to workers. It causes inflation. It reduces merit-based pay. It destroys jobs. It's just a terrible idea. But if you're going to say, oh, I think government ought to set the standard for everyone, that everyone should be under at least the same minimum, isn't that the concept of a minimum wage, that everyone gets the same? Again, I don't agree with that, but hey, it's their theory. And now they want these special exemptions, but they don't want to tell anyone who's asking for them.
Did they express to you that they were left out of the negotiations at all?
No, they did not indicate that they were. I mean, I think a lot of times, this process happens. Not everyone maybe, is following it as it's happening.
Republicans did not criticize.
This process happens. Not everyone's following stuff. We did this big bill 3 days before the end of the legislature, and apparently there was a bunch of NDAs, so no one could talk about what we were doing. But by golly, I don't understand why people don't, follow this stuff. I mean, it's the process. Maybe they're not paying attention, or maybe you're keeping it secret, or maybe they didn't have the right lobbyists sitting at the table to get their little special exemption. But now that they know that someone got a special sweetheart deal, now they're coming back asking for their chum.
Criticized the specific carve-outs, but raised flags about the secrecy surrounding the negotiations of the law. State lawmakers have said they were not at all involved in negotiations, and the governor's office led it all.
Wait. This is a law passed by the legislature, but they had no role in it. The fact that there's reporters reporting this as, yes, that's right. The legislature had a bill that it passed, but they weren't involved in it. Nope, not at all. No one knew it. Hey, it's like spontaneous legislation. It just suddenly passed itself. You should not be buying this crap. And frankly, this reporter shouldn't be reporting this crap. It's insane.
Process that happened last year stinks.
By the way, this is Republican Assembly Leader James Gallagher.
It's not legislation. When all the negotiations happen behind closed doors and there's not transparency. And when the governor is the one
Gallagher,
directing.
Please keep your comments to the merits of the bill.
We have a serious.
Wait. So he can't complain about the fact that we're now doing a bill based on the broken process? I mean, Gallagher is exactly right to be raising this issue, but you know what? The presiding officer of the legislature doesn't want him talking about the corrupt, from tooth to tail, the corrupt process that brought this new correction bill into existence. No, you can't criticize the legislature for their corruption. Boy, that is not acceptable. Boy, that's not following the rules. This entire political system is illegitimate. And frankly, Gallagher should be saying that. He should be saying, this is yet another example of the illegitimacy of the Democrat supermajority in California. This system is corrupt. It is broken. And if you want to call me out of order, so be it. But if you have any criticism of the powers that be, you get chastised as, oh, you're not doing things right. You're not allowed to say that on the floor. Okay, so you guys get to be corrupt and sell your offices to the highest bidder, Panera or the union boss. And we can't criticize you for it because that's not playing by the rules. Insanity.
Problem. That's not transparency. That's not how this is supposed to happen.
Now, those new carve-outs are now on the governor's desk and go into effect immediately with his signature.
So obviously we got a clear explanation today about the new carve-outs from state lawmakers, but the question still remains, originally, what was the reason behind the original carve-out for
the bakeries, right?
Yeah,
right.
Wait. What's the original reason behind the carve-out? Well, the original reason, are you dumb? The original reason is you had a billionaire give a campaign contribution to the governor. You don't need to ask that question. You need to now say, let's hold these folks accountable. This governor is corrupt. The billionaire who gave the money corrupted the system. They should be investigated. And why are we giving it more exemptions? He's like, oh, yeah, well, now that we know that, we had to correct the bill because, someone was left out of the negotiations and didn't get their sweetheart deal. The question needs to be, I wonder how this happened in the first place. We really don't know. There's no suspicion. There's no theory here. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, smells like a duck, it is a duck. This is corruption. And that's the starting point that you should have. And there should be demands for the governor to come forward and explicitly say what happened. And there should be waivers of the NDAs, and all the legislators should be put under oath. The FBI should be collecting paperwork right now. But no, we're in California. Can't criticize on the assembly floor. Real quick, I got a story brought to me by Pacific Legal Foundation. They're doing phenomenal work in the legal space and fighting for basic rights for Californians. Let me tell you what just happened. We've got a lawsuit that's being threatened against the LA County Zoo. And the zoo is out there basically telling people that if you're white, you need not apply to jobs. So I got this email from my good friend, Jen Oman. Pacific Legal Foundation sent a cease and desist letter to the LA Zoo for a discriminatory hiring process. The Los Angeles Zoo's hiring process is unconstitutional because it discriminates against applicants based on race, because the zoo is not trying to remedy specific instances of past discrimination on its part. Its discrimination is not narrowly tailored to fulfilling compelling interests under the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. So that's the argument. Here's what they posted. An internship. I was concerned to learn that the Los Angeles Zoo's paid internship program limits itself to college students from systematically excluded identities in the zoo and conservation fields. So in other words, they're offering an internship, a paid internship, but you can only apply if you fit these protected, special, favored classes. Now, who are those classes? You have to be Black, Indigenous, people of color, people with varying abilities, and or LGBTQIA+. just say the alphabet community, just to make it easier. So in other words, if you're straight, white, you're not eligible to apply for this paid internship. Gee, sounds real welcoming. It is discriminatory. It is illegal on its face. And so I hope that the zoo either changes this immediately upon the presentation of this demand letter from Pacific Legal Foundation, or I hope the Pacific Legal Foundation sues their rear ends for every penny that they get. Look, I want you to go online to reformcalifornia.org, reformcalifornia.org. Join our fight. Sign up right down here. This is the sign up so that you can get our daily information, our weekly newsletter. If you want to subscribe to the channel, chip in a contribution so that we can continue to fight the good fight in California to try to restore some sanity to our state. With that, until next time, Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and smash that notification button so you can stay up to date on all the developments in California news and politics. Also, please visit the website, reformcalifornia.org, for ongoing news coverage and to join one of our campaigns in the fight to take back our state. If you can, please sign up as a volunteer or chip in a contribution. This episode of Reform California with Carl DeMaio, paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly 2024.